had false number plates. The real, true number plates of the vehicle, we found them in the car. And that shows how these people planned and they were en route to commit a crime, thinking they will not be traced.
Kekana has reiterated that investigations into the matter continue. Eyewitness News.
The EFF says the labeling of its president, Julius Malema, as a cockroach falls outside the bounds of political discourse. Today, the Gauteng High Court ordered Patriotic Alliance Deputy President Kenny Kunene to apologize to Malema. On the 17th of November 2021, Kunene called the EFF leader a cockroach 4 times during a televised interview. Tabiso Goba has the story.
Kenny Kunene joined the EFF a few months after it was formed in 2013, developing a close relationship with the party's leader, Julius Malema. However, since leaving the EFF, their relationship has soured, with the two men regularly exchanging insults in public. During the televised interview in question, Kunene's cockroach comment came as a reaction to Malema calling the Patriotic Alliance a party of criminals. However, the EFF and High Court Judge David Wilson are in agreement that Kunene crossed the line by calling Malema a cockroach. Judge Wilson says the term cockroach is historically problematic, referencing the 1994 Rwandan genocide, where the massacred Tutsi people were referred to as cockroaches. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
On the weather front, a partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with isolated showers and thunder showers. Joburg dropping to an overnight low of 6 degrees, peaking at 22. Pretoria 7 and 23. Vereeniging 3 also reaching a high of 20 degrees. Lerato Hofela, Eyewitness News.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
#MSW.
You may begin to feel anxious or excited.
Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored.
High dosage administration can cause adverse reactions.
And most importantly, independent in mind and execution.
This is a normal response. Are you ready?
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Great show as always, Tarop.
Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Good show as always.
Great show as always. Thanks.
Great show as always.
Great show as always, Rob. Thank you.
Louis and the Val, good evening. Hey, is Orlando Pirates giving you sleepless nights, or are they exciting you?
Most importantly, I'm worried about our Sundowns management, which is dragging their feet. And it looks like we don't have any communications or media office at Sundowns. And Mr. Fleming-Beg, I don't know why he's so allergic to interviews like on Marawa Sports Show, so that we can throw questions to him, and because things are not going well.
What's your biggest concern right now at Sundowns?
Like currently, we had 3 absentees from the Sunday game. And the indication from the coach is that maybe there's some negotiations or some players are leaving the team. So we need that clarity. There was a video that's circulating that Mudau is not happy because he's paid less than the South Americans. We are being ridiculed now because we're busy talking about Saleng last season, but now it looks like Mudau is taking us back again to things whereby the team is not negotiating in good faith.
With regard to the vacuum of information from Mamelodi Sundowns, with regard to some rumors that Ribeiro, Shalulile and Mudau might leave the club. These are key players of the club, Mr. Marawa. I was expecting the so-called sporting director addressing this issue, because the poor coach cannot address such executive decisions. In public relations, they say that the one who controls the message controls the narrative.
And I can tell you, this is a story that's been dominating everybody's social media spaces.
Reaction Monday, the Hungarian Grand Prix is very disappointed in Louis Hamilton and Ferrari, Mr. Marawa. And I think the problem is between him and the engineers, because I know things aren't good, Mr. Marawa.
It's like some people at SAFA have no conscience. They absolutely have no conscience. It's absolutely zilch. It's more like, let it burn, We're just going to carry on. You as South African people, you can say all you want. The government can't do anything. We will carry on the way we're carrying on. It's really disheartening.
Yeah, but we can't accept that forever and ever. But I hear what you're saying.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
Well, the Betway Premiership season was officially launched today, but the big question is, will it take off come the weekend? So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, stick around. This is hashtag MSW. Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
Let's go! The moments you remember. The games you can't forget. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets.
All right, before we get into the charge of what I'm talking about with regards to the league season, this season, let me give you a glimpse of what confidence is all about. You know, when you get in your social media inbox, the message, it gets straight to the point. And this happened last week, Thursday. He says, I think I need to get on your show to talk about five-a-side and futsal. I've been with the Orlando Pirates for 12 years, and I am still playing for the South African futsal team, making big news in the five-a-side game as the captain of Orlando Pirates Fives. And then he goes on to say, hey, you know what? We just won 500K in the biggest five-a-side tournament in Africa. And imagine, maybe he'll get to say hello today. But he got straight to the business, straight to the point. He says, I think I need to get on your show to tell you X, Y, and Z. And that is why in the glare of the floodlights, I mean, the roar of a new kind of legacy, not 11, just 5. But what 5 unleashes on the pitch kind of rewrites the rules, though. It kind of reshapes the game, redefines what it means to be dominant. And at the helm, it's the heartbeat of Orlando Pirates Fives. Their captain, a leader forged in that fast-paced fury, the tactical precision, the back-to-back glory. And that is why last month, the Pirates Fives didn't just win. They made a huge statement. It was a ruthless 4-0 demolition of the Saints Fives, sealing a second straight 5 squad league title. That kind of sent shockwaves, though, far beyond Randburg. And that is why tonight, our first guest, we're going to be talking about the fire, the finesse, the future. Carl Kut joins us to unpack the rise, the strategy. And the good question is why five-a-side football isn't just a format. It's now become a complete movement. What an honor, what a pleasure, Carl, for us to have you on where you said you wanted to be on the radio show. Good evening.
Good evening, Rob. Good evening to all the listeners, and thank you for having me on the show.
There was a huge sense of, you know what, I believe I've got a good story to tell South Africans. And why did you feel that way? Because, I mean, I read it. I had no doubt that, you know what you've just told me now makes sense. And I'm sure it can inspire so many other South Africans.
Look, I think Fives, futsal gets overlooked. There's not many heat waves around, and there's not many newspapers, radio stations talking about it. And it's just the up-and-coming sport, futsal. Is growing, Fives is growing, big tournaments are happening, tournaments to give youngsters opportunity to go abroad. If you don't make it, obviously, in the 11-a-side games, we have former players. I mean, in the 5-squad league tournament, we had Lebogang Mokoena, we had Tusopala, we had Justus Ladla playing in that tournament. So we had numerous of players playing in the tournament, and it gives them a platform and opportunity also to showcase their talent.
And I mean, you've been at Orlando Pirates, since the age of 12?
Yeah, I've been at Orlando Pirates since the age of 12. Obviously, I come out of Rivoli. I played for Rivoli Sporting, Thames and Dazzlers in the BFA, and I moved to Germiston City. And that's where Swallows Board, I think, took over there. But then I moved to Pirates at the age of 12 under Augusto Palachos. And yeah, I just worked my way up the chain there.
And working your way up the chain, I mean, you'll say it very calmly, but it's not just up a chain. It's up a United States of America chain. Because if I remember correctly, in 2022, you moved to the U.S. to play for Columbus Rapids. I mean, there's a professional indoor soccer club, having come off the back of being at Orlando Pirates. Tell me about that move.
Yeah, obviously we started with Orlando Pirates Fives. We endorsed by Orlando Pirates, and we have a manager that runs the club. We do everything professional, you know. We give a lot of boys the opportunity to showcase their talent, and we were playing tournaments. We won Club Drift Cup. We won Castle Fives with Samuel Eto'o, and I think they seen us somewhere, somehow, and got into contact with one of my former players that I played with in the national team, Futsal, Rafiq Hassan, and then he contacted us, and then we went to America to obviously play this huge game that's growing there, 7 sixes. It's just big, and I mean, salary-wise as well, the game is just growing abroad, and we want to just grow it in our country as well.
Don't tease us like that. You can't say salary-wise and then drift away. Salary-wise what? Tell us, what is it that they pay over there?
You're gonna have to phone them, Rob, and find out. But it's a good salary. I mean, they offer you. Obviously, everybody gets paid differently. But we had a problem with our P1 visas. You know, the likes of the big dogs, Messi, when they moved to America. Obviously, they capped it, and you needed certain amount of foreign players in your team. So we were struggling with the P1 visas, and I think if we got that right, we would have been still there now and playing. So we had to come back, and we joined Pirates, and things were booming. A lot of tournaments were happening, and 5 quad league came last year and did a tournament for 100K, and then this year they did a tournament for 500K, and they're looking to do another one towards the end of the year.
Yep.
And Fives is growing. It's growing.
I mean, it sounds like it. If you're going to be, managing to get to 500K, tell us about that, because I mean that happened pretty recently. Share that news with South Africans and what that meant to you in this ever-growing sport.
It meant a lot to us as a team because we've been wanting a big tournament to happen. We've been wanting tournaments to obviously be as big as that, and as a team it puts food on the table for a lot of players and their families, and it meant a lot to us for winning it again. I mean, we won it last year, and to defend it wasn't easy. There was a lot of different teams, and rumors have it they're going to make it bigger and better, and so as we're speaking about Fives, I mean, futsal is growing as well. We national champions last year. It's going to happen again this year, where we have to compete in Joburg, and then obviously the top two go play against the other Cape Town, Joburg, other provinces, and then from there they're going to assemble a national team because COSAFA's coming up. I think the main goal for futsal is that they want to obviously qualify for the World Cup. I think that would be huge for our country.
Now, this doesn't only just mean, from what I gather here, Carl, and maybe to inspire other young kids that are listening to the show, or maybe inspire their parents to continue on the journey, is that this hasn't only just taken you to Orlando Pirates and the United States of America, as we've mentioned. Obviously, Pirates, a big role that they've played in grounding you and giving you the opportunities. But you've also had, and I think this is where now everything else happened, after you went to Argentina, where you made history, where you became the very first team in Africa to qualify for the semifinals. And guess what? You lost to one of the biggest nations, which is Brazil. So that particular journey on its own maybe also lent itself to another trip to the UK, and so on and so on. So there have been many life-changing opportunities and journeys along the way.
Yeah, no, for sure, Rob. I mean, futsal, indoor, fives, football has taken me places I never thought I'll go. There's a lot of opportunities in the fives and the futsal industry to travel abroad. Overseas, futsal is very big. It's huge. I mean, the best players, the Ballon d'Or players, started playing futsal. So it is huge overseas, and it's just continuing to grow in our country. And we're looking for the day where we have a proper futsal league running together with the PSL, like in other countries.
What's stopping it, though? I mean, if you know what you know now, Kyle, what do you think is stopping that professional league from happening?
I think sponsors. I think it's in the process of happening. I don't know too much in detail of why is it not happening. That's not a question. that should be directed to me. I'm just a player.
You could be a player owner. You could think big here, Carl. You could say to some of your senior teammates or some people that you work with currently, guys, listen, we don't have to wait until our old age or pension to start a league. We can actually coexist, both managing a league, trying to get the sponsorships. I mean, you've represented South Africa at the World Youth Cup. You've been a top goal scorer of that tournament. So you come with a great deal of clout.
Yeah, no, I've moved around, Rob. Obviously, the foundation was set at a young age, and Pirates, I have a lot to thank them for my development. Obviously, I've won most things in South Africa, Vodacom, NFD, and then obviously it came a time when I got introduced to futsal by our current coach now, Coach Lee Edwards, and I just fell in love with the sport and continue playing, and we continue growing. Obviously, the team and the sport. We find a lot of teams trying to implement what we're doing currently, and it's just growing. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, we're hoping for one day to obviously have that platform for players that want to play futsal and maybe don't want to play 11-a-side or maybe can't make it in 11-a-side. There's another opportunity for them, obviously, to play in another platform.
When you look at Pirates, I mean, the Pirates Fives team, I mean, how are they helping to build the next generation of talent in this particular format?
Yeah, we get a lot of youngsters coming on board. We have 18-year-olds, we have 20-year-olds coming on board, and obviously they don't know, when they come on, they don't know the game as well as they know 11-a-side. So we have coaches that have studied the game and that are teaching the youngsters, and it's just good for them, obviously, for technique, for the ability, for small spaces, you know. And we're not closing the door for them to obviously go to a 11-a-side team or even to go to a Pele Pele or NDC Pirates, you understand, or any other club. We've had that happen before, where coaches come see the team play and takes a few players and they play in NFD, or some even went to a PSL team, you know. So that's the doors that it will open for you.
Just a quick one, just the way forward. Our shareholders here on the show sending me some rapid-fire quick questions. I need one-word answers from you here, Carl. Otherwise, we disqualify you from any major upcoming tournaments. So you need to comply with us. Fives or 11s?
Whew. Currently, fives.
Randburg Arena or Orlando Stadium?
Orlando Stadium.
Most skillful teammate?
Choka Garcia.
One team that you love beating?
Flavor.
Post-match ritual?
Pray. Not too sure about that one, Rob.
You have to tell me.
Post-match ritual. Listen to good music, I suppose.
Artist?
Gospel.
Artist?
You're making me nervous. Can't get to the artist's name.
You're stealing Benny McCarthy's line there.
Let's keep that one.
Oh, Carl, you're such a sport, my friend. Thank you so much. What an honor, what a pleasure having you on the show. And please keep us updated with any movements that do happen. I really think that we have a major role to play on this platform of educating people about futsal, about, fives, about everything that has to do with the sporting code that seldom gets a mention. But thank you so much indeed for being a true ambassador of the sport and achieving all that you've achieved. May the sky continue to be the limit for you.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful evening. And don't forget, you said you're going to have us in studio with my manager. So
100%.
To the point there, like you said in the beginning. But enjoy.
I keep my promise.
Have a good evening. Thank you so much.
I keep my promise, Carl. Carl Good. Thank you so much indeed. In Rivoli, Orlando Pirates 5's captain, coming through and joining us right here on hashtag MSW. Maybe you have a young one who's been saying, hey, mommy, daddy, this is what I want to do. I want to play. And you're like, kid, please, man, find something else to do. There's always motivation. And please never, ever deny skillful, talented youngsters opportunities.
Hashtag MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. Hashtag MSW.
Feel the exhilarating power and performance. Feel the anticipation of a new adventure around every corner. Feel the breathtaking wonder of Mzansi's epic scenery. Feel the luxe vibes and the good times. Feel it all and more with the Ultimate Shelf V-Power VIP experience. Spend 750 rands 3 times this month and tap your V Plus rewards card for a chance to win one of 5 epic road trip and trek experiences for 2. T's and C's apply.
Big banks weren't built for small businesses, so we built something better. We made Lula, South Africa's first business-only banking suite. We reimagined banking and funding to give your business more. Like a relationship banker who cares enough to remember your name and access to funding in as little as 24 hours. We're more than a bank. We're Lula. Visit lula.co.za and experience business class banking and funding today. Powered by Access Bank. T's and C's apply.
Dear Journal, day 4602 of trying to be an adult. My doctor asked me how my quality of rest is at the moment. I told him I have 2 problems. I struggle to sleep at night, but I also struggle to awake at day.
Aggressively realizing your age? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's simple and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
In the streets of Mzansi, 2 unstoppable hustlers take center stage. The Suzuki Eco, the Cargo King. The Suzuki Super Carry, the efficient workhorse. These vehicles are your business in motion. And now, when you buy one, you'll get it branded on us. That's Economics 101. Get an Eco or Super Carry today to turn your ride into the ultimate moving billboard. Visit suzukiauto.co.za to book a test drive and to drive your hustle forward in style. T's and C's apply.
Get more of the value you love this Big Deal Wednesday at Food Lovers Market. Save big on a 10 kg large potato pocket for an amazing $59.99. That's a 10 kg farm fresh large potato pocket for just $59.99. And enjoy lamb packs with stew at only $149.99 per kilo. These and many more incredible deals valid this Wednesday only at all inland Food Lovers Market stores.
At Lotto Star, we're proud to be the first in SA to offer a dedicated responsible betting program. Need to check in with yourself? Take our self-assessment quiz. Need a break? Choose a cooling off period or our easy self-exclusion option. For help and support, our independent counselors are here 24/7. Lotto Star, your world of life games. Lotto Star is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18. NRGP 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
My reaction Monday is the serious lack of our mother body, South African Football Association. Their silence, for them to completely ignore the serious allegations that were leveled by Ujay 12.
Sometimes you have to make decisions for your well-being and just walk away.
Clearly, we are on autopilot.
We'll see. I completely agree with you. They should have been a response by now.
Every time we go to a major tournament, we have to fight about money. We have to fight about basically everything. And it's just like, why do we have to fight?
It's almost like nothing happened. And for a senior player like that, and for a country like South Africa to get that reaction, for me, it doesn't make sense. But
it is disappointing to have a woman in there and still having to go through all these things. And obviously, I won't say anything bad about Lydia. She knows that I am not happy with her.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag
Hi,
MSW.
Roberto. Greetings to you and greetings to MSW shareholders. Firstly, Rob, I would like to thank your team there at MSW for the tickets, man. It was an honor to get a ticket from you guys. That will be my reaction Monday, Rob. On the game, I think Pirates had a very good first half. If they can maintain that, Zokala. But thanks so much. This is Tom Yati from Edenville.
What an honor, what a pleasure, Tom Yati, for the tickets and everybody else that managed to go to the MTN 8 games over the weekend. All right, let's refocus now, because I think the battleground kind of shifts. When you talk about the beautiful game bracing for impact, Cape Town City, ladies and gentlemen, are not retreating. They are not accepting. In fact, they're going back to the actual fight, taking the Premier Soccer League Disciplinary Committee, that ruling, straight to the SAFA arbitration. And what about the hearing, you may be asking? Well, it is locked, and it is locked in for this Friday. And what's at stake? Not just the outcome of a single dispute, but potentially the entire kickoff of the new DStv Premiership season. Yeah, it could affect that was launched this afternoon. And that's simply because until that judgment is rendered, everything else hangs in limbo. So it is all about the legal fire. It's a league delay, potentially, and a club refusing to stay silent. And to help us make sense of it all and to decode the drama, and I would love your input on the conversation. You know the background. We'll probably give you a little bit more now. Please feel free, either give us a call or do send us a WhatsApp voice note, because in decoding what's happening behind the headlines and behind the scenes, that's why I have to call upon a man who knows the intersection of law, sport, and money, like very few. I mean, he is the director of Cash and Sport Research and Advisory, the voice of clarity in football's most chaotic moments. Mobile Ndlovu is live with us tonight. So a couple of you will grab a notebook or two as we dive straight into the business of what we're talking about here tonight. And Mobile, good to have you back on the line. Welcome to the show.
Evening, Rob, and evening to the listeners. Thanks for having me.
Just uninitiated, how would you describe the current scenario playing itself out with Cape Town City at the Hearton Centre? Or maybe I would say the PSL being at the Hearton Centre.
It seems chaotic, but I think it's a little bit less chaotic than it looks. It's unfortunate that it happens almost every season, that there's an issue that goes before SAFA or the DC when promotion and relegation is an issue. But I think this one is a little bit simpler than what people may think it is. Simplify it for us. Well, Cape Town City feel aggrieved that Umonde, who was a Marumo Gallants player, formerly Lerumo player, was able to play without a clearance. The PSL looked at the issue back in August last year. At the time, they found that it was not so much of an issue. Cape Town City could not appeal until July of this year, June, July this year, when the season was about to start, when the previous season was over. And at that point, they appealed, and SAFA essentially said, no, you have to relook at this issue. The PSL did relook at the issue. They fined the club Marumo Gallants. The player himself was found not guilty, and according to the PSL, the issue is put to bed. And Cape Town City now has a chance to appeal again to SAFA for the PSL's decision to be relooked at. That's a simplified kind of analysis of what happened.
Now, there are many complications that come into play, and like I said, that we saw this afternoon, the Betway Premiership, it's launched, the season is ready to get underway, the coaches are fired up, and I guess everybody else, as should be, like we see it right across the entire world of football. But it looks like this ruling could hamper the start of the league. Or do you think, in your opinion and analysis here in Mobile, that we might not get there?
I don't think we're going to get there, because what the initial feedback from SAFA when Cape Town City appealed for this specific case was that SAFA that the PSL should set up a disciplinary against Marumo Gallants and the player and make a finding. The PSL has now done that. What Cape Town City now is appealing is they don't find that finding is harsh enough or adequate enough to allow for them to get back into the league. It's not to say that the PSL hasn't done what they were asked to do. Now, the problem that Cape Town City has is how do you then say that the sanction isn't harsh enough? But based on what precedent? Because there have been issues before where players have played without clearance and clubs have not been relegated. People keep on bringing up the Ndoro matter, but the Ndoro matter was a FIFA matter where he played for 3 different clubs. This is not a FIFA matter. This is a PSL matter. The PSL has made their decision. I don't think that SAFA then can overrule the PSL's finding unless then, SAFA then goes into a separate process of finding a sanction against the player. I don't see how that happens.
But if the club has been found guilty, so again, the analogy that constantly gets used here, it's like somebody saying, oh, okay, we see you shot someone, you actually killed that somebody, but now we're going to bring you in front of a court of law. The court of law says, oh, okay, it's a murder, but we charge you for possession of a weapon as opposed to charging you for murder. Doesn't that amount to something similar?
No, I agree with you, Rob, in that for the PSL sanctioning Marumo Gallants with essentially a suspended fine of 100,000 rand, or 200,000 with 100,000 suspended and nothing on the player, basically sends a message to the other teams to say, well, if you've got a player without clearance, you don't have much of a problem because it's going to be a slap on the wrist. I agree that sends the wrong message. Where I am saying is that in as far as SAFA then getting involved in terms of a PSL sanction, they then would have to say that the sanction, levied on the club and the players incorrect, which I don't think SAFA can do. SAFA can then say, okay, well, you've appealed. There's not much more we can do. We can then refer the matter to a different body, either FIFA or the Court of Arbitration for Sport or a different court. I don't know. But I don't think that SAFA then can then say the sanction is incorrect. If they said, SAFA initially, go ahead and have a disciplinary process, I don't see then how they can then overrule that ruling, because the PSL did what they asked, which was find a sanction. It may seem like a lenient sanction, but it's a sanction nonetheless. Whether there's going to be a problem down the line with regards to clubs without clearance then doing this routinely because they know there's a slap on the wrist is a separate matter.
Sure. And again, we pick it up from the aspect here, Mobile, where Friday now has been set for the arbitrator to sit. And obviously, an arbitrator is not going to give you an immediate outcome. I think we've seen that before. So if they do sit on Friday with the arbitrator will then probably withhold the judgment for possibly Saturday, possibly Sunday. And Saturday is the time when the Bedway Premiership is likely and most likely to kick off. Now, if Cape Town City, it doesn't go their way, they can rush off to the High Court and have every right to interdict the start of the season.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you on those potential issues. I'm saying this because this is what I think is going to happen. I think the PSL is going to meet. They will deliver a decision because pending that decision, then the start of the league is put into has a problem. They will deliver a decision, I think, before the games start and say nothing is going to happen. Well, not SAFA. Let me not say the PSL. SAFA, as in the arbitrator, is going to sit, and I don't think they're going to find anything wrong with the PSL's decision. I think that will come. And then what I think will happen is that Cape Town City will then go and appeal to the courts. But they would have to appeal on an urgent basis on a Saturday, which I'm not sure that the courts would find that the matter is sufficiently urgent enough, given the fact that it's been to SAFA twice and it's already had a decision made by the PSL. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to speak as though I'm a lawyer, but this is what I think is going to happen, given previous precedents and so on and so on. And then Cape Town City will then go back and forth with the courts, etc., etc. But by that time, the league would have already begun. You, at that point, can then no longer reconstitute the promotion and relegation playoff and recharge this team, which is Marumo Gallants. Essentially, because that's essentially what Cape Town City is requesting, is that you recharge them. And then on what basis? Then it becomes an ongoing legal process, but at which point it's too late for Cape Town City to get back into the league because matches have started. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, but obviously, you know that John Committas is no newcomer to football, and he knows what happens behind the scenes. He knows probably more than anybody else what is at play here. If I'm not mistaken, Raymond Hack was asked to preside over, and he was not even in the country. So he was in a different time zone, but he still presided over the matter last week. And there has been reports as well that have said that there have been lines of communication. This is what I found out later this afternoon, that there have been lines of communication amongst people that are not supposed to be communicating about this case, that are supposed to have maintained their independence right throughout, that have not been independent enough, and that they can put forward all of that trail of emails to prove that has been spoken, that has been put out, is actually not an independent outcome. So all I'm saying is that, are we as South Africans ready to risk all of that simply because a certain outcome had to be reached, come what may?
Yeah, I think I didn't know about this information, and if it is true, then the league is would be in a world of trouble. Because from a financial point of view, let's not forget that last season's fixtures were curtailed because of the Royal AM issue. The fixture list is the most expensive thing that the league owns. It's the biggest asset. And if Cape Town City were to be able to prove that not only is this punishment too lenient, but also there are things going on in the background which essentially have been colluded to ensure that there's a specific outcome, that could be very problematic for the league. And especially if they take it to a court of law. And for Cape Town City, they stand to lose a lot. Let's not forget F&B sponsorship, a number of different sponsorships that they have, Coca-Cola Group, the Lift A partner, etc., etc. There's a lot at stake. Millions at stake, over I think per my calculations, over about 60 million in terms of annual sponsorship. It's a lot of money. And yes, if that were true, and if the arbitrator does find in favor of Cape Town City, we are in for a world of trouble with the PSL, because then you have so many steps that you have to go back to ensure that you right this wrong. And I do think that the PSL is setting itself up for trouble with regards to the sanction that was meted out. It was a decision that essentially came to a convenient outcome. But we shall see how it pans out.
Yeah, and it's all something here in Mobile that could have been avoided. And hence I say that everybody's looking forward to the start of the Betway Premiership. We're all looking forward to seeing, okay, are Sundowns ready? They look to be ready. Are Pirates ready? They seem to be more than ready, given just one round of MTN8 and the fans and the expectation and everything that's going on. Is that we would all love governance that is seen to be above board. Never mind the fact that there were some, leading members within either the board or the exec or the leadership within some of the clubs that were against the reappointment of a Zola Majavu to come back again into a DC position because they felt that he was not being fair to other clubs. So there was already discontent with regards to the appointment. So if there's further proof of involvement at a different level, then for me that is pretty dangerous territory to be treading on.
Yeah, then that speaks to the impartiality of the body. It speaks to, and you're right, your initial point around this should have been dealt with. If you have specific rules that say clearance must be obtained, etc., etc., this could easily have been dealt with if, at the very instance that it was picked up, because it was raised in August 2024. If at that point already the PSL had said, here's a sanction to Maruma Gallant, here's a sanction to the player, make sure that this issue is sorted out, we would never have had this issue. It would never have come up. So, one wonders why it wasn't dealt with at the time, and the view at the time was that it was just a clerical error, nothing untoward. But this is the problem: is that you leave yourself open to such challenges. And obviously, yes, if you are seen to be partial to some and impartial to others, your entire your entire stance is questioned, because you can't then be seen to be unbiased in your decision making, which is problematic.
Yeah, I mean, when we come back from the break, Nqobile, we're going to take one or two questions. As I said, that it's an open conversation that we're having now, subject to the officials coming on board and dealing with this matter. And one of the things, and I think you're 100% right in touching on it, is that it wasn't a new matter. So when I interrogated when did Cape Town City go ahead and launch a complaint, one figured out that it happened around about June, July. So when you go back in the timeline, that was before the playoff. So it was something that was put on the table before the playoff. So it had nothing to do with the outcomes of the playoff itself. And then they look like, grumpy old men wanting favor outside of a football field. So all of those and a whole lot more we will try and unpack with you here. Nqobile Ndlovu is my guest, Cash and Sport Research and Advisory.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time.
#MSW. Welcome to the Ford Territory Ambiente Review, a masterclass in innovation. Observe the 12.3-inch touchscreen, not just infotainment, it's your cockpit command center. Perfect for the control freak in you. Digital gauges, tick. Wireless charging, you bet your tail feathers. And the best part, voice control. Just squawk what you want. This is tech that soars.
The Ford Territory Ambiente, the car for today's family, approved by even the toughest critics. Visit a Ford dealer today.
So we did a thing, a full commitment kind of thing. We've partnered with Sixt to bring worldwide to your doorstep. So you see how that's a serious thing, because that's what you deserve. We know you're the GOAT, so premium it is. Premium service, premium vehicles, premium you, premium us. Sani Sixt is all about adding extra to ordinary. Extra reach, extra countries, so you can be extra premium worldwide. Be the greatest of all time and rent Sani Sixt.
To live wealthier, you need to be able to grow your assets. At Standard Bank Private, you get a team of internationally acclaimed financial experts to advise you on local and global investment strategies. Plus, being with a leader in home loans, you can start expanding your property portfolio. So, come live wealthier with Africa's best private bank. Apply online at standardbank.co.za. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Here comes the smart shopper, she 100K winner, smart shopper, smart to shop in the area, smart shopper, still swiping like that, smart shopper.
Pick and Pay Smart Shopper Price Palooza is back, means double points, crazy deals, and the chance to win 100K every day.
Tap, tap, ASAP, you know, or go in store for show, crazy deals on show, cha-cha-chain.
Valid 4 August to 7 September 2025. T's and C's apply.
It's Wednesday, Adams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday Season 2 begins 6 August only on Netflix. Basic plan from 99 Rand a month. T's and C's apply.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store, or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Tsapo and Foslerus.
I'm not saying when you are a team or when you are players, you shouldn't have confidence. Pirates, I think, for the past two seasons, they've really felt the confidence. We can push for a Sundowns, for a league. The last 2 seasons, they put themselves under so much pressure that they've fallen short. And the Sundowns has proven ukuthi ayibafana kahle kahle nina nithi ni afika kithi kodwa ningafiki.
Bitterly disappointed ngomember usanda ukhomenta lo wePirates man. Why comment isowegwala? Make bayigwala vele. Sifuna bona laba abo number 1.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
15 minutes to the hour. This is hashtag MSW Marawa Sports Worldwide. As we chat to the Director, Cash and Sport Research and Advisory, on the line is Nqobile Ndlovu, as we try and unpack probably one of the biggest stories that's doing the rounds in local football right now. Just on the back of the Betway Premiership announcement today that, hey, all is great. The fixtures are in place, the coaches are ready, the captains, the players, they're all ready. But what now? What's the next step? And that is why even on Friday, when I was chatting to Squili Kumete, and I was very intrigued by the sanction, you know, when they have specific sanctions and you go back to the rules. So I suppose every organization, every bit of society is governed by rules. And within the local league, you've got Rule 58.1 of ineligibility. And again, for those who might not have been listening on Friday, we spoke and I put forward, say that according to the NSL handbook, as adopted and approved on the 12th of December 2023, it has 58.1, which basically says that if a player takes part in a match, he is on the team sheet, the field of play, or on the substitutes bench at any time, despite being ineligible. The member club which fielded him will be sanctioned with a forfeit of the match and a minimum fine of 100,000 rand. The player may also be sanctioned. And we're talking about the misconduct. So Nqobile, just coming back to that, how strong will this 58.1 be in the bigger scheme of things? Because it really rings out the rules of the league.
Yeah, Rob, you know, when this issue first came out and I did a whole thread about it, I did note that specific rule, and I said it doesn't say or, it doesn't say that the player, that the club will be deducted points or fined. It says the club will be deducted points and fined. So it doesn't leave it to question, but the PSL has done this. Now, if then you want to then question the rules in terms of the league, you know, the implementation of the rules, I think that would have to be a legal matter because, you know, I don't, as I said, I don't know whether the PSL can be questioned by SAFA on their finding or what they adjudicated to be a fair finding on this issue. I think it would have to go to the courts. And if John Comites, who we expect to go to the courts, does then do so, it'll be very interesting to see what the courts then decide in terms of whether the PSL can choose, you know, one of the sanctions being either a fine or a deduction in points. Because you're completely right. That rule says and a fine. It doesn't say or a fine. It doesn't leave you a choice.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, these rules again, Nqobile, they were adopted 2 years ago, December 2023. So you can't say they're archaic. They're old. They're from 1972. They were adopted now, 2023. So that would have been intentional to say that the member club which fielded him will be sanctioned with a forfeit of the match and a minimum fine of 100,000 rand. So in this case, it's not just one match. So if you found them guilty of fielding this improperly registered player, not for one match, but for all the matches, then you can imagine what form of deductions then have to go through each and every single match.
Yeah, if that had happened, Marumo Gallants would have been relegated almost without question, because it was 26 matches that he featured in. And the fine that accompanied it would have been quite substantial. This is why I said earlier on that while I understand and I don't think that SAFA will find anything and will be able to overturn this decision, I think the PSL has put itself, you know, in a very tough spot going forward, because you've now set a precedent, you know, which says even your own rule books and in the way that they're written strictly on it isn't necessarily, and this isn't, you know, I'm not taking a slight, because obviously I don't have the money for legal fees. Even within your own rule book, the implementation isn't 100% according to the rule book. That for me is problematic. Mm-hmm. And then other clubs will then say going forward, but why are you deducting points from us if within this case these guys got a suspended sentence and basically 100,000 rand fine for 26 matches? I don't think that you can come back from that. I think it'll be a problem going forward.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people have tried to refer to precedent and they've gone back to the previous case. That was prior to Rule 58.1. So everything else that has happened has been post that. So that is why dangerously people like to look at this, said that then, but say, oh, okay, if that was the case at that particular time, then the same rule should apply now. It's not the case. Hence, as mentioned, when this one was adopted and the time and the date and the timeline become ever so important. Let's listen in to what you have to say.
Good evening, Rob, and good evening to Ngobile. Ngobile, with Marumo Gallant being found guilty and being sanctioned for fielding and improperly registered player, where does this put the Nedbank Cup, or does the sanction also include league games and cup competitions? Because this is the very same player that scored that only goal between Marumo Gallant and Pretoria Kellys. Will Kellys also bring their case to the table because they were unfairly penalized and the goal was scored by a player that is improperly registered at the time? Thank you so much.
Mobile?
The league is league matches and all constituted cup competitions as well. Anything that falls under the league umbrella. So that would also fall under it. It's just at my understanding is that Kellys have not registered a claim or a complaint in this specific matter.
Which could be a wait and see kind of approach, because sometimes people stand by the sidelines in Mobile and they wait and see. Oh, let's see what's going to happen with John. Let's see how far he will go, and if they launch, we launch again. But if Cape Town City again are saying to the league, listen, hey, please postpone at least the Marumo Gallants and Orbit games. Try not to start with those games, so that if there is an impact on everybody else, then it's minimal. It does not involve the club. That is at the heart and center of this case.
Yeah, but I don't see how it's possible. And I hear you, but it's an impossible ask to say limit the impact to only a certain number of clubs, because everybody gets impacted by this. There are clubs who are set to be playing in the NFD who get impacted by this issue. Because let's not forget that a Marumo Gallants relegation would have put them down, even a relegation or dropping down to the playoff places would have then changed fundamentally what the outcome of the playoff results are, and therefore also change which teams stay up or who goes down. Even as far as a situation like a team SuperSport that was sold. It also, if they ended up, further down towards the table, again, what happens? Who plays the playoffs? Does Suwelele play the playoffs? They can't, because they weren't in existence at the time. It just opens up a can of worms that I don't think, it opens up Pandora's box, which I don't think the PSL is ready for. And it's very challenging.
No, absolutely. 100%. And that is why the Arrows SuperSport United game was also problematic, in the fact that it should have been played the following day.
Yes. Yeah. However, that one is, as we know now, water under the bridge. SuperSport will never appeal because they don't exist anymore.
It's about the precedent. It's about applying exactly what you and I are talking about right now in Mobile. It's about applying the rules, the laws as set out, obviously, in their constitutions or the rule book.
Darop, evening. Hey, Darop, mina, I think these issues as fananalezi zizo continue for as long as Itatas is a team are still up for sale every season. Darop, why should the status a team in Jalo see up for sale? Kuba nomuntu ofika thenga team asusi team la ihambe yejuice. Uyabona, that's when the issues as fan analysis start, because it means the status when it's up for grabs, the due diligence is azienziwa. That's when you find ukuthi a team is not administered properly. Why is it not put into policy ukuthi when you buy a team, we want to see everyone, wonke from your CEO straight down to the kit manager, Oguti, are they qualified now to be running the team? Because we'll forever be having such conversations, Darop. Great show is always Darop show.
Nobile, I suppose that becomes a different conversation, but you could almost say that it's a conversation that might lend itself into this because that's the formation of Marumo Gallants.
Yes, I agree with you. I think it's a completely different matter. Because and just to explain to Lendo Tefonini, Lenda Yama status sales, essentially the league views as PSL clubs as independent companies. In company that doesn't change just because you've bought company from one to another. The issue is the league doesn't currently have rules around you changing the name of a club and moving that club. They try their best, according to them, to preserve the heritage of the club, but that doesn't change. But Nyaktola, this issue of Marumo Gallants came up because Marumo Gallants had bought a status before Air Swallows. It's the same people, by the way, who bought a status TTM, which was previously Wits. So two clubs essentially have gone defunct, and another one could have gone defunct if the PSL had fully put in place their measures with regards to fines and docking of points. So yes, Nyaktola, I completely agree with you that the quality of ownership in this specific case with regards to this specific club, yeah, it's questionable.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa. Kuluma Nosbongele Nomkwan, Gamka Metafen. Mr. Marawa, I'm very disappointed with the matter of Marumo Gallants ne Cape Town City. I think our league sometimes they are very careless because I think the first thing the league needs to do when a player is supposed to join a new team, they verify everything and see that the player has got his clearance in his hand so that he can be registered to a new team. How come a player can play for the whole season with some issues like this? Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Good show as always.
Mobile, I suppose in summary, and I don't want to take words out of his mouth, is that these are ever-ending problems that always just seem to appear, disappear, reappear again every single year. But we don't really see this. Like you can really hear from a Premier League perspective or a La Liga or a Bundesliga that, hey, guys, everybody's excited about preseason. We're getting on with the job. And all of this comes to play. What seems to be the problem? Is it something that's really not fixable?
There's a simple answer to this, Rob. Just implement your rules 100% with no bias, with no, just if there's no clearance, you don't play. Simple. Simple. Sanction the players, sanction the teams, etc., etc. But just implement the rules 100% with everyone in every single case. Because the issue here specifically is that it's not the rules don't exist. There are rules for everything. The NSL handbook is quite clear on a lot of matters. But the implementation of certain rules is sometimes it changes for on the one side and it seemingly changes on the one side and seemingly changes on another. So just implement the rules as they are written 100% all the time, and these issues would disappear overnight. But the seeming swaying in terms of how the rules are implemented, the strength to which they are implemented in terms of sometimes softly, sometimes very harshly, etc., is problematic because you find yourself in this situation. Anyone can then ask the question, but Usbali wa Mlana, you didn't give him such a hectic fine. Manje why mina ngitholele fine engaka? That's a problem. You just have to have one set of rules implemented strictly, and that's it.
Sure. Yeah, I believe lawyers' letters are flying out, Ngobile Ndlovu, from the mother city to Gauteng as we speak. So, yeah, we're going to watch this very, very closely. It's crazy. And I think what you said in summary makes a great deal of sense. You have rules and regulations. You have admitted to them being correct. You've admitted to the fact that there has wrong that's been done right now and has been committed. How about applying the laws and the rules as set out in your own rules and regulations in the handbook. So I think in summary, we all agree to that, Mobile. And as always, Baba, I want to thank you so much for giving us the insight. Continue with the great articles. Love your work, sir.
Asbonga, Rob, thank you for your time.
Cash and Sport Research and Advisory. Here's the director, Mobile Ndlovu, joining us right here on hashtag MSW. We'll take your opinions and a whole lot more as we continue. Hashtag MSW, Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
The thrill, the drama, the action. Let the game begin. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947.